Hi, I'm Owen Fitzpatrick, author of the book, The Charismatic Edge, and creator of the online Charisma Training Academy. In this particular video, I want to share with you the most important things that I know about being able to present yourself in the most effective way at an interview. So what are the most important things you need to remember when you're going for a job? Well, I want to talk you through a number of different areas and make sure that you're 100% clear over how to best make sure that when you go in there, you do yourself justice in the interview. The first is to make sure, obviously, that your CV or resume and your cover letter are as effective as possible. You need to make sure that you're very clear in presenting both of not only what you're communicating from a content point of view, but the display, the way it looks professional and grabs their attention. That means not too much text and very, very clearly laid out. Now in your CV, your resume, or in your cover letter, it's important for you to make it stand out a little. So what can you do to make it a little bit of your personality there, to be able to grab their attention, to be able to say something that they might not have heard from every other candidate? Avoid overusing some of the business jargon that a lot of times you find yourself using. Sometimes it's very easy to feel safe and just do the same thing over and over again. But it's really important that you find ways to make sure that you stand out. With any interest that you say at the bottom of your CV or resume, it's important to make sure that those interests show some positive characteristic that they might want to see in the particular job that you're going for. So again, work on your CV or resume and work on your cover letter and make sure that they have personality in them and that they communicate the kind of qualities that you want to be known for by people. Obviously, focus the attention on whatever it is that are most important from their perspectives, but again, don't bombard them with too much information. Just give them enough for them to be excited about you as a potential prospective employee. Once then you do get called for interviews, hopefully you will, then what are the things you need to do in order to be able to get yourself in the best frame of mind to be able to present yourself at an interview effectively and successfully? Well, first of all, you obviously need to research the position. You need to understand what is it that they're looking for in this position. What are the specific words that they're using to describe that particular position? What are the qualities they're looking for? And it's imperative that you really become a student of that and understand the exact wording that they're using, because if you use the same words back, it makes it more likely that you'll create that right connection, getting them to think about it in exactly the right frame of mind that you wanted to think it about. So it's really important to understand how are they describing the position, what does the job involve, what responsibilities does the job have. The more you understand that, the easier it is for you to make sure that when you're talking about the position, that you're able to communicate yourself as a clear, viable candidate for that role. It's also important that you're studying and understanding the business that you're looking to work for. Understanding the history, the culture. Research their website. If you can, talk to people that used to work there. Look up different people in LinkedIn and where their backgrounds are. Understand what the company does. Understand the products or the services. What makes them different. What's their USP? What's their mission? What's their values? The more research you do about the company that you're going into, the more information you have at your disposal that will enable you to be able to better make sure you're presenting yourself or positioning yourself in the most effective way. If you can understand the culture of the company and the goals of the company, the mission of the company, the way the company works, the products and services, you'll be able to relay that information to show not only have you done your work, have you done your research, but you'll know what they're looking for. You'll know what kind of person fits in there. You'll know what they like. You know what areas of business are most important for them. So make sure that you do your research on the company as much as you can, understanding all the different areas of that. The next is do your research on whoever the interviewers are. If you know ahead of time who's going to be interviewing you, be aware of them. Again, LinkedIn gives a great resource in helping us understand more about a person and giving us background. So whatever information you can get about that person, that will help you to be able to understand more about how you can effectively present yourself. Understand, for example, what jobs have they had in the past? What words do they use to describe themselves? Because again, if you can use similar words to describe yourself, it creates that sort of connection with them as well. So do your research on the person. So once you've got your CV or resume and your cover letter done effectively, once you go in and you're doing research on the role and doing research on the company and doing research on the particular interviewer, the next step is to be able to understand what questions you're going to be asked. Now, you don't always know exactly what questions you're going to be asked, but you could predict certain things. You can predict they're going to ask you what you're good at. You can predict they're going to ask you what your weaknesses are. And avoid giving just canned answers to all of this. It's very easy to go, well, my biggest problem is I work too hard. It's important that you make it unique, you make it your own. You really start to figure out what are the things that you can improve on and how can you turn a weakness into a strength but really beginning to start to make sure that you're doing so in an innovative way. So work not just on what your strengths are or what your weaknesses are, but how you can present them effectively in a way that hasn't been done before. Begin to start to think through and answer or write down every question you can think of that they might ask, and then begin to plan an answer for each. Now, when you plan an answer, it's important not to try to remember the answer verbatim. Instead, begin to start to look at and get into the habit of answering it naturally. Work with a friend, work with a colleague, work with your partner, and get them to ask you question, and make sure that you're answering the questions until it becomes natural, until it's flow. Bring a little humor in there if you find the opportunity. Make sure that you're demonstrating with every answer a natural sense of flow. And make sure that you're really ensuring that you're giving them a very clear answer to whatever it is that they want. Most importantly, begin to start to explore and talk and think about every aspect of yourself. Being great at an interview involves a great sense of self-awareness, being aware of yourself, because you might have to extract or find an answer in the moment, in that spot, when you're asked a question that you haven't thought about. So again, start to look at all of your strengths, all of the great experiences you've had in working in the past. What have your past roles done for you? What have you learned from them? It's vital to be able to be very clear of that. It's also vital to remember a number of difficult situations that you've overcome, because generally speaking, whether you're asked about them or not, it's really useful to be able to use those as examples of what you've learned and examples of times you've achieved success or times that you've managed to perform effectively. So again, there's a lot of resources you can get from your past work and you can use in order to be able to demonstrate or give an example to these prospective employers as to why you would do a great job. And also when you're in the interview, present or position yourself in their mind as the kind of person that would do the job. When you ask questions at the end, ask questions about them. Ask questions about their experience in working in the company. Ask questions that presuppose that you would be a great choice. And most importantly, when you go into any interview, get your mindset right. And your mindset should use what we call a BATNA. That's a best alternative to negotiated agreement. This is what negotiators use. When they go into a negotiation, they think to themselves, if I don't succeed in this negotiation, what do I have to walk away to? And they call that a BATNA, best alternative. So whatever the best alternative is what they're aware of, which makes them stronger in the negotiation. Now, if you want to be effectively strong in the interview process, you need to remember what is it that you can walk away to if this interview doesn't work out. And the more that you're aware of what you have to walk away to if this interview doesn't work out, the easier it is for you to make sure, 100% sure, that you're feeling as strong as you possibly can. Because the less it means to you, the more likely you are to feel that sense of confidence. The other thing to have in your mind is that your job is to help them not make a mistake. In other words, instead of thinking of them as judging you, really what you're doing is, since you know you do a great job in this role, your job is to help make sure that they don't make the mistake, that they don't somehow make the wrong decision and not choose you or choose somebody else. Instead, they make the right decision and they choose you and they decide to get you and they decide to invest in you and bring you on board. So your job is to help them not make their own mistake or sabotage their own success. Your job is to help them make the right choice, the right decision, which is you. And in order to do that, by that frame of mind, by that mindset, it allows you to feel a lot more comfortable and confident. As you walk into the interview, make sure your body language is saying confidence and strength, not just because it makes them see you as more confident, but also it makes you feel more confident. Research shows that when you walk in with a confident body language, it affects the way in which you feel in your brain as well. So again, demonstrate confident body language. Make sure that you look them in the eyes. Make sure that you let them know with every fiber of your soul that you are the right person for this job. And the more that you allow them to know that, the more you communicate that clearly, and you've done all your preparation and research, you'll put yourself in the very best position that you can possibly be to make sure that you get the greatest opportunity to be able to get the job. So again, I hope all of this is useful. I hope you find all the preparation, all the work, and all the ideas that have been suggested in this video is useful. For now, I'm Owen Fitzpatrick. Thank you very much for watching. Go out into the world, get that job, get that opportunity. I really hope this is of value. Take care, and bye-bye.